Sometimes you just want to sit down and enjoy an amazing story with a great single player journey. So here's 7 upcoming single player games that you should put on your radar. Koei Tecmo is known for creating single player action games, and it looks like they're setting into the Ghost of Tsushima realm with one of their upcoming games called Rise of the Ronin. This is an open world action RPG set in historical Japan during a time of civil war. In it, we will take on the role of a Ronin, a masterless samurai who has the freedom to make their own choices. Not much is known about exactly how the combat mechanics will work in the gameplay, but we do see from the trailers that the player character will be able to use both firearms and swords to execute some stylish but brutal finishes on enemies. We also get to see glimpses at some of the transportation options we will have available to us in the game, as we know we will have access to a glider as well as horse riding. But as mentioned earlier, the game will focus on giving the player choices, and this will heavily impact how the story unfolds and the characters that you actually meet. The developers are saying this is one of their most ambitious games yet, so let's see what they can cook up for this one, as I'm super ready to jump in. For this next game on the list, interestingly, it didn't start out as a single player game. It was actually meant to be an MMO, but then was revealed to be a single player action game for both console and PC. It's made by the same team behind the popular MMO Black Desert, but this one's called Crimson Desert, and it's set in the world of Pywell and follows Macduff, the leader of a group of mercenaries. The world becomes a harsh place for mercenaries after a power vacuum emerges following the death of the King of Domenis. Much like Rise of the Ronin, choices will factor into the game, and players will have to make choices about recruiting mercenaries in order to survive. We know that a lot of you watching the channel are probably fans of Monster Hunter or Dragon's Dogma. Well, the combat in this game is looking to be hitting those similar vibes with battles against massive beasts. One of the very cool things about the game's combat system is that the player will be able to execute tag team combos with AI partners, making for some devastating moves. The developers have said that they want to put an emphasis on exploration, and in the most recent trailer, we got to see some of that in action with these sky islands that look like it's something straight lifted out of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. Next, Star Wars is just one of those franchises that is near and dear to us, but when it comes to games, they can be very hit or miss. But the next game on the list has some potential to be a massive hit if they get it right. Star Wars Outlaws is an upcoming single-player, open-world Star Wars game set between The Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. We as players will be taking on the role of the outlaw scoundrel Kay Vess, with the goal of executing a massive heist in the Star Wars Outer Rim. The game is developed by Massive Entertainment, known for their work previously on the Division series, and we have always thought that given the right setting, this studio could make an amazing sci-fi game. This one's releasing on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series XS and PC, and is scheduled to release sometime in 2024. Some of the key things you need to know about this game is that unlike Starfield that has some procedural generation to create some of its content for its planets, this one will have large but handcrafted zones, which are comparable to something like 2 or 3 zones in Assassin's Creed Odyssey. And yes, we will be able to go into space and just look at these warp animations. This next one is easy to forget because it's been in development for quite a while and has been continuously delayed. This game has a very Last of Us feel to it from the trailers, which show the partnership between the little girl and the person in the spacesuit. So if you're looking for a sci-fi Last of Us, this game might be for you. Pragmata is a mysterious sci-fi game being developed by Capcom, but not much is known about the gameplay itself. We do know that the game is being developed for PlayStation 5, Xbox Series XS and PC though. The last update we had for this game is that it was delayed indefinitely from its projected 2023 release date. Hopefully it doesn't end up like Deep Down, which was Capcom's fantasy RPG that was delayed so many times they just cancelled it in the end. Next, everyone has been pretty hyped about Spider-Man 2, as you can play as both Black Suit Peter Parker and Miles Morales. With the potential for some epic battles with villains such as Venom, it sounds like an absolute blast. But this isn't the only Marvel game that's in development from Insomniac Games. Marvel's Wolverine is next in line after Spider-Man to be on the slate, and we are very much looking forward to sinking our claws into this one. The game will be a PlayStation exclusive and is currently rumored to be releasing in 2024 or 2025, as it was in early development when it was initially revealed. The reveal trailer is littered with various different Easter eggs, such as a Hulk 181 reference, which is Wolverine's first appearance in that issue of the comics. It will be interesting to see if Insomniac can knock this one out of the park as well. We finally have a release date for Granblue Fantasy Relink, but another one similar to Pragmata that you might have forgotten about is another game that's been in development for a very long time. Project Awakening is an action role-playing game being developed by Psy Games, who's a Japanese video game company known for its work previously on mobile games, card games, and the action RPG Granblue Fantasy. This game is set in a high fantasy world filled with magical creatures, dragons, and various fantasy races, but details about the story is minimal at the moment. The last update we had for this game is that it was still in development and that the team had to delay the game to rework the game's engine to better fit the needs of the game, but it is still being developed to be released. From the trailer, the gameplay looks like it's going to adopt a more Souls-like approach to combat, with players being a bit more methodical about their actions. It doesn't currently have a release date, but we're hoping we will hear more about this one soon. Now for the last game on the list, which we've all been asking for since the creation of the franchise over 14 years ago. Assassin's Creed Codename Red is an upcoming title where Ubisoft is finally taking the series to Japan so that we can play as a samurai and shinobi. Codename Red is set in feudal Japan and will provide players with the opportunity to immerse themselves in a highly potent shinobi fantasy. Moreover, the game will revert to the modern style of action RPG gameplay, so if you like the more newer style of Assassin's Creed games such as Origins, Odyssey, and Valhalla, this is going to be one to look forward to. Those were just some of the epic games that we were looking forward to over the next couple of years, but it would be interesting to know if you're playing more single player or multiplayer games now. Tell us what your current go-to games are in the comments down below, and check out these two videos on the screen now. We have so many videos on the channel coming your way soon, as well as these two on the screen, so check them out and tell us what you think after watching in the comments down below.